It's been more than a week since former Senator Chuck Hagel answered questions in front of a Senate committee, but he has yet to be confirmed. Republicans say they still need more information from him, while Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Carl Levin says they are asking too much. Joining me now is the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator James Inhofe of Oklahoma. Good to talk to you, Senator. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Nice to be with you, John.
Before we get into the Hagel confirmation, let me ask you if I could. Senator Lindsey Graham made some news today saying that he thinks the confirmation of Chuck Hagel and as well John Brennan for the CIA should be held up until the president has a full accounting of his whereabouts and his involvement during the Benghazi attack. Where do you come down on that?
Well, you know, there are so many other reasons to hold up on Chuck Hagel, not so much so on Brennan. But he has every right to do that, and he's looking for more information. He has not gotten it yet, and I know that because I'm the ranking member on the Republican side on Armed Services, and we have made several requests. It hasn't come back, and I think as a member of the committee that Lindsey has every right to do that.
Right now, as we heard during Leon Panetta's testimony to your committee, he had one conversation with the president and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Martin Dempsey. It lasted about a half an hour during that attack, and that was the only time that the president checked in with him and with the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs on a personal level. Are you concerned about what his level of involvement was during that whole debacle?
I'm concerned about his level of concern on the thing. You know, if you stop and look at all the things that happened in April, May, June, July, those are things that caused the Red Cross to cut and get out of there. The Brits did the same thing. And I know Chris Stevens. He was a great guy, and he actually made a request for more security and was denied that request. So I would say, where was the president during all that time? It was a lack of, I don't know, lack of interest in the thing, but he was certainly not being presidential.
Right. And what's your big problem with how the entire aftermath of Benghazi?
Well, to me, they're not really covering the right issue on that, because what we do know about Benghazi is that, now I'm talking about the attack on the annex. That was the second attack. It actually happened early in the morning of the 12th. When that happened, that was without any question a terrorist attack that was organized, Al-Qaeda type of attack. Everybody knows it. Brennan told me, he said unequivocally that's what it was, and Panetta said the same thing in the open meeting. Now, they knew that the day of the attack, and why did they send Susan Rice out there to lie to the American people on that weekend to all 5 of the big shows on TV? Well, the only answer is it was before the election, and they didn't want people to know what a lousy policy we've had, or the president has had, in the Middle East.
Something else that came up during the hearing was Secretary Panetta said that there was no way that they could have called in F-16s. He says you just can't bomb the heck out of a place with F-16s if you don't know where you're going. Do you buy that argument that there was nothing that the Pentagon could have done with aircraft, even flying them low to scare people away?
Because they could have prepared for this. We're talking about months ahead of time, certainly weeks ahead of time. They could have placed something in the vicinity. That's what we are saying should have been done. And if you stop and realize that Chris Stevens was making a plea for help all during that period of time, then I would say that we could have had somebody there. And we have the assets there. Not the assets we should have, but we have assets there.
Let's switch to the Hagel confirmation. You are on the record, Senator, as saying that you will do all you can to prevent him from becoming Secretary of Defense.
John, I don't want to be unfair, but you know, I said that in the very beginning, and when he came into my office, I looked him in the eyes and said, I can't, you know, I love you dearly, you're a war hero and all that, but you can't be Secretary of Defense. Does it occur to you, are you at all concerned that the Ministry of Iran is endorsing his candidacy, his nomination for Secretary of Defense? The things that he has done. Senator Cruz came out with these things. The Al Jazeera interview where he agreed that America is the world's bully. He agreed that Israel is guilty of committing war crimes. You know, this is the type of thing that you can't accept. I know he's popular, and I know that he's going to do his best. I'm going to do my best to see that he's not the Secretary of Defense.
And among the things that you could potentially do to derail his confirmation is to mount a filibuster in the Senate. Is that something you are prepared to do?
Let me put it this way. It's been done many, many times. In fact, 89 times in the last in recent history. 71 of those times where it was not filibustered necessarily, but it was called for a 60-vote margin. I want a 60-vote margin, John. And you don't have to filibuster to get that. If there's a way of doing it, well,
you don't actually have to mount the filibuster, but
No.
there's the threat of it.
I plan
and that's what triggers the cloture vote. So would you threaten a filibuster?
I would threaten to cause a 60-vote margin. Yes, I would. If I took a filibuster, I'd do it that way.
Right. You realize you've just made some news here saying that you would support a filibuster.
Well,
because many of your Senate colleagues have said they don't think it should come to that.
Well, but see, they're predicating the assumption that we haven't been doing it. John, in the last 9 years, we've done it 9 times. And some of them have been confirmed, some have not. But I really don't see anything wrong than requiring a 60-vote margin for either one of the 2 most significant jobs or appointments that a president has. Frankly, I don't trust this president to make the right appointments. I don't think that Hagel is the right appointment.
All right. Senator James Inhofe, good to see you this afternoon.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for spending time.